Hi, I'm Vanessa. Welcome back to the Solena Global Living Podcast, where we talk about the realities of life abroad, real estate, and what it takes to find your home in a new country. Today, we're headed to Granada, a city where three civilizations have left their mark, and you can still feel all three. Tucked beneath the Sierra Nevada mountains in southern Spain, Granada is one of those cities that gets under your skin. It has a layered history that you can still feel in the architecture, the food, and the rhythms of daily life. And if you've ever been here before, you know that no other city feels quite like it. My guest today is Guillermo. He's a real estate agent and he has lived in Granada since childhood. And he knows the city in a way that most of us never will. Not as a visitor, not as someone who chose it for the lifestyle, but as someone who grew up in these streets, saw it change, and chose to stay. So today we're going to talk about what makes Granada unique, including the tapas culture that still surprises people and the real estate market, what you get in the city for a 2-bed, 2-bath condo, and what you can expect to pay for a villa with a pool in the countryside. And we'll also talk about what foreign buyers need to understand about the city before they fall in love. All right, let's go. Hello, Guillermo. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to learn more about Granada.
Hi, how are you doing? I'm excited too to show you some information about this lovely city.
Yes. Well, I'd love to start by finding out why you chose to live in Granada. Did you grow up there or did you find your way there?
Well, indeed, my parents find my way here because I was born in Barcelona in the north, and I came here with my parents when I was 7. So it was not really my choice, but yeah, I will choose it anyway because it's a really lovely city.
Why do you love it? Why have you decided to stay as an adult?
Well, mainly because the half of my family, my father was from Granada, and my mother is from the Barcelona, and we have like share families.
Mhm.
But I grow here, have my friends here. I make my business here. We set a family business, and well, I have just enjoying Granada, and like I know the lifestyles in different parts of Spain. Definitely, Granada is a really lovely place to live.
Yeah, I can't wait to get more into that. And when people think of Granada, the two things that come to mind are tapas and the Alhambra. So, what else should people know about the city?
Well, definitely the gastronomical interest is high, and Alhambra is one of the main. It's not a reason; it's more than one of the remains of the greatness of Granada. And more than Tapas and Alhambra, there is a huge historical city. We have had here a lot of different cultures, and even talking about the actual culture, Granada is one of the is still being one of the most cultural cities, even compared to big cities in Spain. We have one of the biggest and most famous festival of dancing and music festival, and we have had a few months ago the Goya's Awards here, and it's a really rich city, not just Tapas and Alhambra, which are also nice too.
Right. There's still good reasons to come. So, how would you describe the pace of life? I mean, I understand that Granada has a lot of tourism draw, and it's also a university town, and it's a mid-sized city. So, as somebody who lives there, what does it feel like to live in the city?
Well, to live in Granada compared to other cities, maybe through the largely size, it's less stressful because you don't have to spend a lot of time traveling from one point to the other. So all this time that you save for yourself makes it a little bit. less stressful and a little bit more comfortable probably.
Okay. So it's a pretty compact city, right? Would you say most people are able to walk to most of the services that they would need on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, mainly. Yeah. Well, depends on where you live or where you work, but usually around your area, it's not well, it's not super common that you can't find your services around. There is a few condominiums or a few neighborhoods which are uh, almost even 100% just we say residentials.
Mm.
So, and you have nothing around, but it's not really common. However, even in these places, at 5 minutes driving, you have everything.
So, when we think about Granada, we're mostly talking about the city, but there are other communities adjacent
Yeah,
to Granada, and you have the Sahara, you have the mountains, and Granada stretches all the way to the coast in terms
yeah.
of the area. So, what are some of the other villages or towns near Granada that people should know about?
Well, indeed, Granada it's a city, and Granada in the area, it's a city and uh, a location which is super funny to rediscover year after year. Even myself, it's just funny. A couple of weeks ago, I had to visit a client in a certain point, and I like to have a kind of short walk around, and it was even a traffic jam in one point. So I say, well, let's discover. And I get another path, just having a maybe 15 minutes walk away. And I remember a few villages that I haven't visited for maybe 15 years, and I just realized how beautiful it is. All these tiny villages all over Granada with super nice views, depends on the point that you are. So, as a resume, what I will say is it's so beautiful and so rich that it's super nice to know every village and to make ultra local tourism, because there is a different richness in different points. Some of them super gastronomical places, some tiny villages with terrific views, some medium cities with an old history behind, like where Federico Garcia Lorca was born, or where the last king, Muslim king of Granada, give the keys to the Catholics. So there is a lot of different tiny things to discover, and I guess that you never discover 100% of what we have around here.
It is such a rich cultural area. And I think that is one of the beautiful things about living in Spain. You just travel out, and there are all these little villages and beautiful other little places to explore. It's just so rich, it's so diverse. But you said something that I want to zone in on. You talked about how it's very local. And I think Granada has a reputation for being kind of deeply, stubbornly local. And I'm wondering what that means for a foreigner who is moving there from abroad. Is it hard for them to integrate?
Well, indeed, I don't really know what you mean with that, because I haven't heard that we are that local.
Okay.
Indeed, Granada is even historically, traditionally, it's a city where it is a kind of meeting point from people all over Spain, and especially from all over Andalusia, because due the university city center, there is a lot of people from the whole Andalusia who came to Granada to study. So there is a lot of people who came back when they have their families to the old student city. So I haven't heard that we are that local,
Okay.
honestly. I
I
think
love
that
that.
we are yeah, you can enjoy the city wherever you came from.
How would you say that the tourism impacts your daily life? Are there times of the year when it feels like you're overrun by tourists, or where regular people live in the neighborhoods where they live, are you able to kind of avoid the tourist rush?
I think that in super, super high season, there is a lot of tourism, but mainly it impacts in there is more people and it's maybe harder to book a table in a restaurant. But as it is not a proper coast city, as could be Malaga or Torremolinos or some places like this, which maybe attract a specific kind of tourism. I guess that the tourist that comes to Granada doesn't really impact or bother to say something the daily life in Granada. It's just more people and it's a kind of share culture. You are just doing the same that the foreigners or the tourists are doing in Granada. You are enjoying the having a lunch in a terrace, or you are enjoying going to some shopping center, or you enjoy just walking around Granada, which is things that locals used to do.
Hmm. Let's talk more about that. So, talk to me about the way locals embrace tapas culture. So, what does that mean for you on a weekly basis? When you go out for tapas with friends, what is that experience like?
First of all, when we say tapas in Granada, we say properly tapas. It's not chips. It's not just a plate of olives. It's a proper dish.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a big thing in Granada when you go with your family, with your friends. I guess that we have a culture, probably because of the weather, because of the gastronomical culture, because of the sunshine. We are an outside culture, and we love to share with friends, which is easy because you are super comfortable and with a nice weather, nice sunshine in a terrace or restaurant or in the seaside or in the mountain. You have plenty of options. So for us to go and have some tapas is not just go and drink and eat something. For us is to share your day to day, spend some time with friends, and we really appreciate tapas. So better you provide good tapas because it's a big thing for us. It's a really big thing, and it's one of the nexus, one of the points that sticks all together with your friends, with your even your coworkers, the people in your teams. You spend some time with them, just sharing some drinks and big food. So it's not just drinking and eating. It's more than that.
Yeah, I'll never forget the first time I came to Granada and my husband and I sat down and we ordered drinks and the size of the plate of food that came
Yeah,
out with it, we were blown
it's a
away.
proper dish.
Completely different experience from where we were living on
Yeah,
the Costa del Sol at the time. And we're like, this is different. This is a different vibe. We like this. This is amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that, how you highlighted how it's about sharing and sitting down. It's very communal. It's very warm. It's very like, come on, let's get in together and share
Exactly.
and talk and eat. Switching gears just a little bit. I'm a mountain girl and I love the idea that you could, in theory, ski in the morning and then be on the beach in the afternoon. Now, is that true? Because I've heard that you can do that in Granada, but do people actually do that?
Well, you can definitely do that because from Granada to the proper ski station, it's as much like 60 minutes driving if you don't get a traffic jam. But yeah, it's like 60 minutes driving. And from Granada to the seaside, it's 45 minutes. So it's definitely possible. Indeed, I make a video in social media once that I had to show to a client a property in the coast. And the same day, I I went to the ski station at the afternoon. So I make a video because I knew it, of course. I
Yeah.
have booked the viewings, and it's definitely possible. But to ski and then have a shower has the problems that has to have a shower in the sea when it's winter. So if you can if you can swim in the frozen water, you are more than welcome to try to do that. But definitely it's possible. You can do that.
Okay. And I hear the skiing is quite good. How do you compare it to other ski locations in Spain? I mean, do you have a lot of runs? Do you get pretty good snow? What are the conditions like?
The ski stations is it's really good. One of the points, as I have been skiing in some other places in Spain, not all the ski stations, but in some of places, and I have been skiing a lot when I was younger in Sierra Nevada. And one of the nicest things that has it's almost the whole main mountain. It's skiable because it's not a mountain. It's not a ski station. This kind of ski station full of trees and full of obstacles. So you have a lot of skiable kilometers. This is one of the points that I think that really appreciated for the people who loves to ski, because you can ski a lot of different levels of ski skills, and well, the snow it's quite good. We are the top of the ski station is at 200, close to 205 to 2,500 meters high, so it's really high, and the snow is really good. Indeed, yeah, you have seen we still have the mountain full of snow, and the main paths are usually support with artificial snow to keep all the perfect level of layer of snow. So it's really funny, interesting, and you can really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's such a magic location to be in a cultural, like a rich cultural city, 45 minutes to the ocean, an hour to skiing. You can see the snow, but you don't have to drive in it. I mean, I think that is such a magical combination, truly. It's funny, we're actually looking for something similar. We're looking for a house in Italy, and that would be our dream scenario. That would be
Yeah,
perfect. So I don't know if we can find that in Italy, but yeah, I think that's one of the really unique things that stands out about Granada. You can be in
definitely.
nature and the beach, super easy. So let's talk about the cost of living in Granada and how that compares to other areas. Do you have any specs for us? Maybe what a two-bedroom condo in the city versus a villa just outside runs these days?
Well, as in every place, you know that the cost of living is getting a bit getting higher. But definitely, Granada, like, it's not one of the regional capitals. It's probably a little bit more affordable, uh, which is the cost of living, the day-to-day cost. Not super cheap. It's just a little bit cheaper. When you go to other places like maybe Malaga or Madrid, or even if you go to the north, it's a bit more expensive. You can feel the difference, but probably it's not the difference is not really big. And the cost of buying a property in Granada has I guess that in every places you can choose whatever you want to, or whichever area you prefer to live. But we have a huge range of prices. You ask me for a two-bedroom, for example,
Right.
you you can buy a two-bedroom flat maybe between the cheapest 100,000, but you can even buy a property with two bedrooms in the best location, maybe with a terrace, and you can spend almost 400,000. So it's a big range. You can pay almost four, 3, 4 times more for the better area compared to the worst.
Okay. So would you say for a foreign buyer coming in who wants a decently updated, nice, comfortable, walkable neighborhood, it doesn't have to be the penthouse above the Ritz, but nice, like middle class nice. Would you say that would be around 200, 250,000 for a
Yeah,
two-bed
probably.
condo?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, more or less. The average price could be 250. It's a decent budget
Okay.
to be able to find something in a desirable area.
Okay. And what about a villa with a pool? If somebody wants to be on the outskirts of town and have a little bit more space, what would they expect to spend?
Well,
As much as you want,
again,
right? Three
yeah,
million if you want
exactly.
to, but let's talk about like average prices.
But again, depends on whatever the pool is share or private, and how far do you want to go from Granada? Because you can find maybe an small villa with even an independent one. Because with villa you mean a non-unattached house, just a proper villa with garden maybe around it.
Yeah.
Maybe in the right location, 180,000 euros, till up to not much more than 1 million. You can find some special things, but around more or less the same that two-bedroom flat. 200, 250, you can find right places. If you want to came closer to Granada, the price, of course.
Yeah, price goes up. Okay, but that's pretty accessible. I mean, I think for most people thinking about a villa with a pool, if they could get that for under 400,000, that would feel like a big adjustment to life in the United
Yeah,
States for sure.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Right? Okay. So let's talk about social life. Well, I love that we talked about the tapas culture, and obviously there's lots of different lifestyles, even in Granada. But for a typical Spanish family living in Granada, what does a Saturday look like?
Well, depends on your lifestyle. Like Granada is that open to a lot of different kind of lifestyles. You can find a lot of different Saturdays. For example, for a young student, Saturday probably the Saturday morning could be hangovering because you have the options. But if you have, like me, for example, I have a little boy, and we spend a lot of times the Saturdays in a playground, or going to making our shoppings. It's really common that if you want to go to make some shoppings, or you want to go to the playground or a garden, or even if we love to go hiking, or depend on the season, go to the seaside. You have plenty of things to do, and it's usually, if you want to make something outside, even if you are going to make your shopping, you say, well, it's kind of a little bit late, let's have something outside, and you can have some drinks, or some tapas, or some rations, which is it's a little bit bigger than a tapa. You can pay for it, and with a couple of things, you have a nice time outside. So it depends on what your lifestyle is. You can make from a super local cultural thing to go to the mountain and make some nature adventure activities.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of diversity there for sure. And is there a sizable LGBTQIA community? I mean, would a gay couple coming from the United States feel welcomed in Granada?
Well, as you know, my I have uh, been involved in the foreign community, because my wife is British, so I know a lot of communities of expats, and even they have some even Facebook groups to get in touch and to share language, to improve their Spanish, or just to spend time together. Some of them with children. So it's a big population of foreigners that are living in Granada.
Hmm.
This is what you ask?
Yeah, yeah. That helps for sure. And where are people actually buying? Do you find that foreigners are buying apartments, like historic apartments in the center, or are they looking in the peripheral areas for places that have a little bit more space?
Again, I'm sorry to can't give you an accurate answer but that's our reality. Depends on what you want to do. Depends on your lifestyle. Depends on what you prefer to do for living. We sell a lot of 2-3 bedroom flats in the city center, but also who prefer to enjoy more space or some open area. Maybe they prefer to drive 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes to buy a house in a village close to Granada. There is some villages which are literally uh, apart from Granada from one street.
Mm-hmm.
So one side of the street, for example, Armilla, one side of one main street is Granada, and the other side is this village. So you can go walking even if you want. It's not common, but you have to pass down the motorway, but you can definitely do that. So what's more common, or maybe a 3-4 bedroom house in these areas close to Granada, or maybe a 2-3 bedroom flat in the city center. This is like the two more common properties.
Okay. And is there anything that you see foreign buyers consistently get wrong or underestimate about buying property in Granada that you would love to set them straight on?
Maybe to choose the wrong real estate agent could be one mistake that they can do. Luckily, there is a lot of professional people, but well, you can find everything, and to find someone who knows the market and who speaks at least decently English and Spanish, and someone who understands how the purchase process goes, it's one big thing. But well, so depends on the area that the foreign clients came from. Sometimes this is really common. I guess that in the United States, the survey is really common, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and in Spain, it's absolutely unusual. So it's not a definitely it's not a standard thing. So when some people some client came from whatever that they are used for this survey, sometimes I advise, well, if you want to be 100% sure, you can hire an professional service to make sure that everything is fine, and well, at least make your decision, but with the right information. And indeed, this is one of the services that we provide. And finally, we had to prepare this service because a lot of foreign clients. I'm related with my wife, and I have some clients especially from the UK, but they are not used to find a property which can have something. And this is a useful service usually, and the service of making the refurbishment to fix something if it's necessary. But maybe it's the only mistake that they can have, to don't choose the right person, and don't know which are all the extra expenses of buying a property.
Yeah, definitely. I always tell the story. I have two friends who purchased properties using the listing agent that they just found online because they liked the property. And that agent never bothered to say, hey, by the way, you're also going to get a tax bill 30 days after closing.
Yeah.
So you need to be prepared for that. And both of them were caught by surprise. And one of them bought €1 million property. So imagine they got, and this is in Catalonia, so it was €100,000 tax bill that they were not expecting upon close. So,
Yeah.
I don't think it was malicious. I think, a local agent who's used to dealing with local buyers, those buyers know what to expect, and they just didn't think to mention it, right? And foreign buyers don't know what they don't know. So it is so important to work
Yeah.
with an agent who is there representing your interests, who understands what you're going through as a foreign buyer and how things might be different for you, from the way your mortgage is structured to understanding the costs, like you said, to just the time frame and the process and the culture around it. Definitely, I agree with you 100%. It's so important that you work with the right agent. And I'll include the contact form to get in touch with Guillermo in the show notes. So you can definitely reach out to Guillermo if you're looking to buy in Granada or in the surrounding villages. I highly recommend him. So, and Guillermo, by the way, is going to be our local guide when we bring our expatsy group to Granada in a few weeks. And so hopefully we'll get to see some property together, and maybe I'll get to interview you again face to face.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Guillermo's my go-to contact in Granada. Is there anything else, Guillermo, that you think people should know about Granada if they're thinking about where they want to live in Spain?
Well, maybe I think that we was talking about that when we talked first time. Probably not just to go to Granada when you want to go, whatever you want to go. It's interesting. What I prefer to say is, well, let me know what are you waiting for, because sometimes you know perfectly sure that people says, well, yeah, I'm looking for some property between 2 3 bedrooms and 200 or to 300,000 euros, just in Granada or towns around. Yeah, but this is a huge range of properties that match. So what I could advise is try to be as more accuracy as possible and try to see yourself living there, and try to feel what are you waiting for, which is the, as we mentioned, which is your lifestyle. What are you waiting for? What would you like to see? If you prefer to see the city center life, or do you prefer to see the, maybe the ski station, the skyline, or whatever you prefer? And once you know what would you like to live, then let's try to look for the property that match it. And when we know what matched you, super important to try to make a little research of the different areas, because depends on the area, the, the life experience could be a little bit different.
Yeah, I think that's really good feedback. I think the most of the time when you're dealing with a foreign client, they are moving for lifestyle. And probably for many of them, for the first time in their life, they can live wherever they want. And so the world is their oyster, but that's also quite overwhelming, I think. And I think that's really great feedback to think really specifically, what is the lifestyle you want to live? What do you want your day-to-day life experience to be? And then let's figure that out. And then we'll find the house that fits that. But the
Exactly.
neighborhood, the village, those streets, that matters
Absolutely.
more. You can find the house, but you can't, and you
Exactly.
can move the house, like you can change a house, but you can't change the location. So start with the lifestyle and the location. Great way for us to end. Thank
Exactly.
you so much, Guillermo. It was so great to talk with you, and I look forward to seeing you in person in a
Yeah,
few
my
weeks.
pleasure. My
And
pleasure.
as we explore Granada, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed this episode and that it gave you a little bit more insight into what your life could look like if you chose to make Granada your home. Make sure to use the form below if you'd like to contact Guillermo to talk about buying real estate in the city. And if you're not quite ready to buy real estate and you're still exploring where to live, make sure to follow me. I am here to help you explore the best places to live abroad and then connect you with the right local experts to make that dream a reality. Until next time, keep traveling, keep exploring, and keep living the life you dream about.